just happy to be here.
What up, beautiful people of the world? My name is ExZac Change. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm hanging out, happy to be here with my friend, Chris Bertram.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
There we are, bro. Well, you live here, so you should be excited to be at your place of residence, doing what we always do, but we're doing it with microphones and headphones this time.
You know, I really feel like it's exactly the same thing. You know, like you said, I live here. I could come up here and have conversations, but now people can enjoy those conversations that we have.
Well, dude, you got a fucking pretty crazy story that I know because you've been through it. It's not, you know, it's your life. But to somebody like me who, you know, that's a complete polar opposite of how I grew up, I think it's really, you know, it's a perspective that somebody like this in my position, growing up in a nice household, like to look at your position and to see how far you've came. So I really like everybody else to hear that too.
Well, you know, the thing for me is I feel the opposite of that actually, because it's like where I come from, your life is actually, or in the way you grew up, having the nice household, parents who both worked jobs, you know, went to college and all of that. That was like me growing up. That was like what I thought a majority of people were living.
Yeah.
You know, but now that I've gotten a little bit older, you know what I mean, and I've realized that, you know what I mean, my lifestyle and the way that I grew up is actually happening on a much larger scale than a normal lifestyle of what people would consider you to
like
have.
a lot more people are struggling.
Exactly. There's a lot more people, and people just from, and I mean, I'm talking people ages of, you know what I mean, like being born to a 20-year-old in a household of people who have substance abuse, people who are physically abusive, whatever the case may be. These are things that are happening a lot more often than a normal household, in my opinion. And it's just because that's my perspective, like we're talking about there. You know what I mean? That, to me, now that I see that, it's like, you know, I don't know specific numbers, but I would probably guess that 60% of households probably have some kind of substance abuse, some kind of mental, physical abuse going on. So to me, the perspective was this growing up was normal.
And I think that with social media and people being able to be a little bit more transparent in their lives, you hope that people are at least more aware of
Yeah, you would think
these kind of things. I mean, dude, it's I think it's really stifling to try to grow up with people around you that aren't pushing you to do better things, but kind of just moving in the same direction. But then I think it also kind of helps build you into this stronger person. I mean, at least that's kind of how it seems that it's been with you.
I mean, stifling wouldn't be the word that I would be using, just because you don't know any better. Like growing up in that situation, like I stated in you know the previous comment, you know what I mean. This is your awareness. This is your situation that you're growing up in. You know, like my mom being addicted to drugs, hardcore drugs. You know, heroin, methamphetamine, stuff like that. You know what I mean. Until I went over to my very, very small amount of friends that I have, talking one or two growing up. You know what I mean? And then you would see that, holy shit. Oh, these bikers coming in your house selling drugs and shit, hanging out with your mom and shit. That's not normal. You know what I mean? Your brother downstairs holding his own version of MMA fights and beating the heck out of people. You know, that's not normal.
Because you're just going over to your friends who are just playing video games and having Mountain Dews.
Family vacations with their mom and dad. In the summers, they're going over to Oregon, family vacations. They're doing things like that. You know, we went camping, but we never did like vacations. Like we weren't that normal household that mom and dad worked for a year and then every summer you went to the same vacation spot for the past 16 years growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that for us.
Wow.
So, you know, I don't think stifling would be the word I use, just because it's different, because you don't know any better. Like you just, from your perspective in that situation, this is what it is.
I mean, it can still be stifling,
maybe
even
so,
if you
but
don't know better.
Well, I mean, okay,
It's
fair
just
enough.
stopping
but like,
you from growth. It's stopping you. You're not.
So you just don't know that you're growing.
You just don't. I mean, I'm just saying that you're not have access to the same opportunities as a lot of people, as far as being able to play football or be able to do this or that, or you know, some people it's like, oh, we didn't have the money to do that, and some people it's like, oh, we went to all the camps, we had everything. Like, of course, like in our family, we have all the opportunity to do any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's like, you know, it's just there's some opportunities that just aren't available for people. You just didn't have access. You know, you had to like not be able to do that because, you know, whatever, your parents didn't have money or it just wasn't a priority or whatever.
School definitely, like, access to information wasn't something that was real privy to me growing up. Growing up in this type of household that we grew up in, keeping to yourself and really only trusting like your family was something that was everything. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you don't talk to other people a lot, you know what I mean? Because they could be cops. We sell drugs. They could be cops. Just don't talk to people. You don't need friends. You have family. You have cousins. They're your fucking friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you don't trust outside of your circle,
no,
really.
You don't. Well, I mean, you got to understand the type of situation that you're in when your family sells drugs. Whether you really want to be a part of it or not, you're a part of it. You know, I grew up watching the mistakes that my family made. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful now for that. Then I didn't know any better. But I'm very thankful now because I spent a lot of time doing the opposite of what they were doing.
So while they were selling drugs,
I wanted to go hang out with my friends. Man, I wanted to go be on the baseball team. You know what I mean? I wanted to, anything other than being around them.
Because that was like the norm. That's like, you wanted to be away from that and be out doing, like, individualizing yourself.
Correct. I don't want to be associated with them for the reasons of things that happen, like when I would walk down the street. Literally, you know, I'm the good one of the family. But literally, people would cross the other side of the street just to avoid me.
Because you're 6'1".
Not
you're
at this
a big
time,
dude.
but still, I was still a big kid.
You're a big kid, but then they were also like, dude, his brother.
Oh, his brother broke into 6 houses here.
Because
his mom, we know, sells drugs.
Because you have 3 brothers.
4 boys. My mom had 4 boys, including me. So yeah, 3 brothers, 2 older, 1 younger.
Not the youngest, not the oldest.
I'm Malcolm in the middle. I'm that real life. You know what I mean? It was just like the brown-headed middle child. My oldest is a blonde-headed baby. My little brother's a towhead. You know what I mean? Which is, brown or blonde, has blonde hair. But
towhead?
That's like the term for blondes. It's towhead. You know, and then, you know, she just really babied David because he's my older brother, my oldest, and then Ben being the youngest. She babied both those. You know, those are the babies, right? So the other one that my brother DJ, he kind of received the same treatment as I did. You know what I mean? It was kind of like Chris and DJ are all right. You know what I mean? They're gonna be okay.
We're really worried about the older one.
Well, the babies. My mom was the first and the last born, so it's the most memorable, I guess. I can't speak on my mom's.
But she just kind of kept you guys closer.
Those two, no, not us. Like, I was.
The older ones.
The older and the youngest. So David and Ben, the oldest and the youngest.
And then you guys were just stuck in the middle.
You know what I mean? It was just like we're in the middle. I'm not saying she loved us any less, but it was just it's a weird dynamic, especially when you have a single female addicted trying to raise 4 men. That's
And then your dad was
in prison. Yeah.
So that had to be tough on her, and you guys were just kind of running wild.
I mean, we were fucking hooligans, man.
Because it affects you that your dad's in prison, but then at the same time, it's like you guys are so young that you're just kind of running wild, and you're like...
We did for the most part. Thankfully, my little brother Ben, the baby, the youngest one, his dad was probably the next closest thing to a father figure. He also was addicted to drugs, but I have the fondest memory of Bill. His name was Bill. Every Friday night, or at least once a month Friday nights, just a vivid memory. Maybe I'm imagining this, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember a lot from back then, and I could be imagining it a lot. Probably I know a lot of my memories could be partly made up from what I wanted it to be to what it really was. You know what I mean? I know brains do that to people. But I have a vivid memory of him every Friday night or once a month Friday night, like buying pizza and renting movies. And then we would all sit down around the movie or the TV and watch movies and eat pizza and stuff like that.
That sounds pretty realistic. I think
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think I'd make that up in my head. Like,
pizza movie. If he was like, we went to Disneyland, I'd be like, well, maybe that was, you know. Pizza and movies. Okay.
So I mean, he was like
that's the way to anybody's heart.
Yeah, smart guy. How do you get children to sit down and shut up?
Pizza and movies.
Pizza and movies. Good call, Bill.
How do you keep a 32-year-old man to sit down and shut up?
Podcast and beer.
That too. Well, actually, that'll get him going.
Right?
Pizza and movies. All you're hearing is chewing and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Smacking lips and shit.
Yeah, fucking Rambo. What are some of your go-to like old fucking 90s like action movies?
Oh, bro. So I'm a huge martial arts fan. So anything martial arts, dude. We're talking Bloodsport.
Okay.
Well, Bloodsport's 80s.
I want to go into a different. So to hit me with like the action, I guess martial arts movies I feel like are like a different category though. I'm thinking like
action.
I'm thinking of gun 'em up, explosions.
See, I'm not a huge gun 'em up explosion guy. Like I like guns and I like explosions, but I'm not like big on them. Like if they happen in the movie, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. But like I don't want them in the entirety of the movie.
So big martial arts movie guy.
Mostly martial arts movie guy. You know what I mean? I like to be like I have that. I don't know. Like it's weird. Growing up, I think. The reason why I like most of this martial arts stuff and the honor and stuff like that stems from, like not having a lot of that growing up. Like I've stated, I grew up amongst bikers. These guys are gamblers. They're thieves, drug dealers. You know what I mean? All they do is steal and rob people. You know what I mean? There's nothing really honorable about what they do. They're not bad people. Don't get me wrong by any means. They're still good people. They're just making wrong choices. So for me growing up with watching, especially as a teenager, at least 12, 13, Power Rangers was the start for me.
Looking for that good guy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm surrounded by indecent people.
Well, and at that time, you were probably thinking like, I don't know. Maybe it was just her subconscious yearning for that like hero.
What person in that situation wouldn't want that?
I have no idea.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I know. It's a rhetorical question that you can't answer.
I can't answer it.
You know what I mean? Like if you're in that, just like try to put yourself in the shoes. Like if you were in that situation, don't you think you would yearn for it? So like I think that's. Just take a step back to like my mom and growing up here again. I think she saw that and she was like, shit, one out of the four boys is looking like he can be okay. Like he wants to be an honorable guy. You know what I mean? He wants to do right, help people, shit like that. He wants to be good. He's kind of a funny guy.
He wants to watch Ninja Turtles.
He wants to watch. See, that's really where it stemmed from. I'll be honest. Young watching Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo.
Who didn't?
Oh my God, dude. You know what I mean? I wanted to fucking listen to hip hop music. I wanted to, read comic books. I wanted to do martial arts, kung fu shit because of Bruce Lee. Shit, I was such an oddball of a kid in my family. I was like 6 years old, and I begged my mom, please, for my birthday, will you get me the Stevie Ray Vaughan cassette tape?
Oh, and your
what 6-year-old is begging
your
his
brothers are like,
what is wrong with you? What do you don't want to go? You don't want to go like fight or like do some drugs or like talk to girls?
I'm 8.
Or like, yeah, right? Like
the fuck?
Well, you got to understand, my brother David at this time was probably like 13. He's like 7 years older than I am.
He's like, I don't get it, dude. Come on, come do big boy shit.
You're like, I'm 8. Yeah, exactly. You're 13.
You wanted Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I wanted Stevie Ray Vaughan comic books, fucking Ninja Turtles, dude. You know what I mean? I listened to my 13th birthday, just to skip forward a little bit in time. My mom, I didn't beg for it this time. My mom, remembering my 8th birthday, and she even told me when she handed me this present, she's like, I remember how excited you were for that cassette tape when you were 8. It was my 13th birthday. She handed me like 12 different cassette tapes. So at this time, you could still listen to cassette tapes, which was like 1913. I was 1997. So you could still listen to cassette tapes at this time. My mom handed me like 12 cassette tapes. Blue Oyster Cult, the Doobie Brothers.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean?
The good shit.
The good shit. You know, the shit that like, because I talked to her about like, Mom, what was it like being in Seattle in 1967 or whatever, 1973, downtown Seattle in the square, watching the Doobie Brothers perform. There's hella hippies everywhere smoking weed. Probably some LSD being dropped, for sure. Like, nobody's not dropping some LSD.
So she's told you stories about her going out to
for sure.
some of those.
I crave that shit.
So she saw like the Doobie Brothers. And...
Oh yeah.
Wow.
My mom told me a story about on Green Lake, which is in Seattle, Washington, for everybody listening. There was a floating stage out in Green Lake, and the Doobie Brothers, or maybe it wasn't Doobie Brothers, it was an old band, can't remember who, but they were playing, and she was like, they were floating down on the lake. I just smoked some pot, you know what I mean? My girlfriend gave me just a little bitty hit of acid, like things was just gleaming, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like, outside of my mom being like a hardcore drug addict, I'm like, wow, this is fucking amazing, Mom.
It's like a fond memory.
Yeah, that shit sounds fun. What happened to that? Where'd you go wrong? Like, how did it go from smoking pot, LSD to being hardcore addicted? You know what I mean? But so I craved that shit. I remember actually my dad, side note, my dad told me a story about going to either Judas Priest or Twisted Sister. I can't remember. Maybe Judas Priest. Twisted Sister, I think, is more 80s. And also on LSD. Strange that they did a lot of LSD back then. But he told me this dude took a shotgun to his face. Blew his fucking face off. Like,
bro.
Like within 5 people of him, like in a direction.
Jesus Christ, this took a fucking dark turn.
I know. I'm sorry. But like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Talking about fond memories and then ruining it.
Oh, yeah, man. I've seen some really good bands. I was at one time. Guy took a shotgun to his face. It was hardcore.
What we were just talking about, like, I was like, what was the craziest thing you seen at a concert back then? Because concerts back then are not like concerts nowadays.
Yeah, Dad, do you want a fucking trophy? He's like, dude, that was fucking PG back then.
Bro, that right. Blowing off your face is PG? The fuck? Like, nowadays you can't even bump into a girl without it being #MeToo. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Back then people were blowing their faces off, and that's not a sexual fucking innuendo. That's like you're really taking a shotgun to your fucking face.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, make sure that you stay away from those concerts.
Oh, but on a lighter note, he did tell me about another concert that he went and see Blue Oyster Cult, and they had this huge Godzilla robot in the background because one of their songs is called Go Go Godzilla, really popular song, and they were wearing these shattered glass suits, and again he was on drugs, and he was like, all I remember, Chris, was like, I was really high, and I was sitting there, and one of the beams flashed off one of the guy's things and hit me right in the eye, and I felt like I left the universe. I'm like, Dad, are you on drugs right now? Like, what are you talking about?
So what is cool is that your parents were able to share these like really cool stories with you about doing drugs and like getting detailed.
But they didn't grow up from it, so.
I mean, either way, man, this is a piece of a great.
I love it, and that's the stuff I want to talk to my mom and dad. You know, if I could talk to my dad about it, I want to talk to my mom about. But it's just like, it gets stale talking to my parents, just because I've chose for the past 10 years. And I don't want to say this at the risk of sounding like I'm trying to be, I'm better than anybody, because no one's better than anybody here. We're all humans. My name is human. Your name is human. That's what we are. But it creates a really huge divide. Like, those stories were cool when I'm younger, but I've experienced some of my own things like that now. So it's like, okay, Mom, cool, but like, what are we really doing moving forward? You know,
but it's got to kind of be fun to look back and be like, man, some of the things that I'm doing, my parents were, when I was 12, my parents were in their 30s just trying to figure it out, going to fucking.
When I was 12, my parents were not going to concerts.
So this is when they were like young. So
this was pre even being born with David.
Okay, this is a young.
So my mom had David at 20. So this is pre-20 for my mom and my dad. They both grew up in Kirkland, Washington. So they're both from the same city. And back then, Kirkland was basically just like a nothing town on the side of Lake Washington, east of Seattle. It's the greater east side.
Okay.
So she would explain to me how, like, they used to have mad kegers out there because it was like, it was the woods. Seattle had already been kind of taken over at that time. Kirkland, Bellevue area was still kind of woodsy.
Up there, yeah, it was still.
There was no Bellevue like there is Bellevue, Washington now.
Good old days.
In fact, one day, I'm going to have to take you to the Peace Bowl in Kirkland. Just a little fucking side.
Peace Bowl?
So there's huge, we should do a concert. Oh, my God. There's a huge, just north of where my grandma used to live, there's a huge indentation in the ground, and it's a huge bowl, a circular bowl that has a peace sign in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a natural peace sign?
Yeah, it's literally one line down the middle, two downs, peace sign.
Peace bowl.
It's called the Peace Bowl. We used to go up there, and when I was growing up, we used to go up there and smoke bowls and shit like that.
Dude, we've been fucking friends for like 11 years, and you've never told me about Peace
I know.
Bowl.
I'm surprised that I'm just out telling you.
Yeah, what's up with that? So, okay, just to because I know
Sorry, I got off track.
We've been bouncing around, but I wanna just dial back real quick because I did not get a favorite. Like what's like a favorite
action or martial arts? We didn't decide.
Just go action. It could be Seagal. It can be Schwarzenegger. It can be Jet Li.
Seagal, that's a good one.
It could be anything.
Because
what do you go to?
Under Siege.
Under Siege.
Where that girl
Under Siege
jumps
2.
out of that fucking cake. That was one of my favorite fucking scenes.
Seagal was a badass.
Of course, Seagal was a badass too. Do you remember the Seagal Van Damme beef? I know I'm getting on a tangent again. Oh, dude. So Seagal, or I think it was Van Damme. I can't remember exactly. One of the two said that.
Well, have your story straight, Chris.
I'm pretty sure it's Van Damme. Van Damme said that he had beaten Seagal in some kind of street fight or like organized fight.
Mm-hmm.
Seagal came out on TV. I think it was Leno or some kind of late night talk show. Was like, yeah, no, bro, that never happened. Like we've never even fought each other.
So it started a beef.
So it started a beef.
I do not remember this.
It's because you weren't really into martial arts like I was. Like I was in deep.
You're in deep. Okay.
You know what I mean? I was all about Van Damme, Bloodsport. I wanted to be in a fucking Kumite myself. I wanted to be Frank Dukes, which was the guy that Van Damme played. You know what I mean? I wanted to be Steven Seagal. I wanted to be fucking Chuck Norris. You know what I mean? Like martial arts was everything to me growing up. So any martial arts, when we started to pick a favorite though, I'd probably have to go with either Under Siege or Bloodsport, one of the two. I watched Bloodsport with Van Damme on repeat. I'm going to have to say at least 100 times.
Dude is fucking shredded
Back
in that
then,
shit, bro.
yeah. And that fucking facial movement that he does in his movies. And he starts fucking shaking and shit. I love it, dude. I eat that shit up. I'm like, yeah.
No, dude, Bloodsport is a fucking classic, bro. I'd have to say for 90s, if we're going 90s.
Well, see, okay, I can't say that because Bloodsport, I think, is 88, so I would have to change my answer.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's pre-90. Oh, I need to.
I wish I could see. I wish we could
I don't
Google
know where
it and
my
look.
phone is either. Put that shit away.
Well,
90s. Oh, I got a good 90s one that I loved, and I watched it on repeat as well. Last Action Hero. Fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah.
Yes, I watched that one tons, dude.
I thought you didn't like those explosion movies.
You know, I didn't, but Arnold. So there's those few on occasion guys like Arnold, Sylvester. You know what I mean? They're not martial arts guys, but it's like, okay, I believe that these guys could be boxers, and Sylvester did Rocky, so it was even, you know, boxing is a martial arts.
Yeah, Rockies.
You know
All the
what I mean?
Rockies.
So exactly, even another 90s movie, Rocky. Anything Rocky, I would eat it up, bro, on repeat.
Dude, I loved, man, my favorite movie when I was like 12 years old, my go-to. I could watch it over and over and over again.
Let me guess. Homeward Bound.
No.
No? Okay.
No, bro. 12.
That was a good one.
12. Okay?
What?
I was 12. Okay. I fucked with Homeward Bound when I was like 8. Okay. This is a whole new level. I'm 12 now. Okay. Rush Hour.
Oh, of course.
Dude, honestly, I was a
Don't you ever
freak
touch another man's radio.
for anything Jackie Chan. I was in it, dude. Mr. Nice Guy.
Rumble in the Bronx, though.
Rumble in the Bronx, where he pulled out the
man.
fucking the car antenna.
Yeah,
he's just whipping people with it.
Yep. Oh man, dude. Anything for sure. Anything Jackie Chan. I gotta love that guy, dude. Does his own stunts. Who does that? Who else does that? I got one person.
I did like the movie he did recently. It was
Super Cop or whatever. Something about a cop. He was a cop.
Yeah.
His daughter gets kidnapped.
That one. Yeah.
Super Cop's one of his older movies. What's that one called?
That was a good one. But dude, I obviously like when he started getting into the comedy realm where you could mix like the martial arts but make it fun for a bigger audience because you got like Owen Wilson in there doing Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights, or you throw in Chris Tucker into like Rush Hours, and then you have like these martial arts that you can appreciate while you have like this comic relief, so it doesn't have to be this really serious thing.
You know why I think that blends so well? What is comedy? What is another name for comedy?
Humor.
No, okay. So it popped in my brain. Comedy is also known as performing arts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, it's what's the last word in there?
Arts.
Martial arts, performing arts.
It's arts.
Anything that is heart related is going to blend. It comes because it comes from the same thing. The comedy comes from Owen Wilson being very passionate about comedy. Jackie Chan's a funny dude, but guess what? His other hobby includes that he has studied the fuck out of martial arts.
He does his own stunts.
And he does his own stunts. So, you blend that arts together and it's just the same thing like haircutting. That's an art.
Or even just like how breakdancing, graffiti, hip hop, martial arts.
Art.
What was the other thing we was talking about? Martial arts and comedy.
Comedy.
All those things, they all go together. That's so true, man. That's a really good fucking point.
I think about that a lot, like how much aspects of things are actually like arts. Pottery is an art.
Yeah,
it is because it takes.
No, that's no joke, bro. I can't do that.
Right.
I can't fucking sculpt.
Haircutting, sculpting arts.
Haircutting. That's another thing that
That's
takes
an
like
art.
precision.
That's precision. You know what I mean? Anything that takes where you actually have to slow your brain down and focus in on that particular moment and own that shit. I think that's why everything blends together, like with martial arts and comedy, because you're doing the same thing. You're taking not only and that's what's crazy to me. Like Jackie Chan, not only does he have to focus on his acting, which obviously wasn't the best, but he fucking did it with such passion that it came out just so funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he would make mistakes and he'd be laughing at his own mistakes during the outtakes. And you're like, oh, this dude's just having a fucking blast.
Dude, and like his inability to like speak the best English.
Didn't like that almost made it better.
And
or
using
did make it
that,
better.
he used that like
smart.
Yeah. And it was fucking hilarious. Like he was just such a lovable guy. I think it's funny because I was like reading an article one time about Jackie Chan and it was talking about his son and how he's like, I'm not going to give my son shit. Like he has to earn everything. So he's got that like old school mentality. Like I worked for everything I got. If you want anything in life, you have to go get it. Like I'm not going to just give you $1 million.
The crazy thing about that is I've actually like done research on Jackie Chan only because I actually ran into some research about him while I was watching research on Bruce Lee. Because Jackie Chan, when Bruce Lee went back to China to do some movies over there, was in one of the schools that they used to recruit to do the stunts and stuff like that. That's actually where Jackie Chan gets doing his own stunts from. Is that he used to be part of a Shaolin school and stuff like that.
So it all pretty much originates from Bruce Lee.
Well, no, more that he was like a Shaolin performing arts student. But when he met Bruce Lee, that's when he saw acting. That's what he said. He was like, that's the first time I saw acting. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? He's like, this guy's Chinese and he can fucking act and he's doing it good and he's making it money. Not in those exact words, but that was the gist of what he,
I'm assuming not in those exact words.
But and then so that's where I think a lot of that definitely stems from, and he's like, yeah, I mean, in those schools, they teach you're very strict. It'd be like you going to, a Christian school or something like that, where they're like, you have to follow the rules.
Well, it's just, that's where he met somebody that he saw doing something that he wanted to do that he could see himself doing.
He's like, this guy's no different from me. Isn't that crazy? This guy's no different from me. I can do what he can do.
Fucking Jackie Chan's a legend, man. And Bruce Lee, dude, didn't get to live long enough, but it's cool that Jackie Chan got to go on and do some funny shit, dude. And some
did a lot of good 90s
shit.
Movies. That's all I'm gonna say.
The 90s, man.
Some
Jackie
of my
Chan.
favorite movies in the 90s are from Jackie Chan.
Wasn't there like Jackie Chan versus Chuck Norris?
No.
Was that not a thing?
I think I would remember that. No.
Does that not happen? Was there not a movie where there was Jackie
Engineer.
Chan?
No.
Yeah, right. Jamie,
please. Hey, no name drops.
We don't care about name drops here. We're not worried about it.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit more about kind of like how you've, especially your like weight loss journey, dude. It's kind of been, it's kind of like when you see something click where it just starts working and you just start changing you get into the roots of what's making you a certain way, changing it, and then seeing results, and then kind of reaping all the benefits from that. So kind of tell me about your story from a weight loss perspective.
Well, I mean, I would start this story with, my journey started, my heaviest. And the only reason I remember this is because at the time I was donating plasma. on the side just for extra cash. And I went in there, and they told me I weighed in at 405 pounds.
Jesus.
Now, that wasn't like a consistent, but that was like the heaviest. And that was like the first time. So it kind of kickstarted it, you know, because it was like I can't even go sit on a bed, a medical bed built for people to lay on.
So they like turned you away.
Oh, they said, you're too fat. Not in those words, nicer. You're too heavy, or you've exceeded the weight limit, AKA you're too fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of a harsh way to think about it. But that's the thing I'm about to get into is like in a weird, I believe the word is like masochistic or sadistic way. Not even those words, maybe a little bit different, but you have to kind of think it like that. Because sometimes, or at least for me, it took kind of an ultimate shame. Like, holy shit. Like, I can't even go to this place to donate plasma to save somebody else's life, because that's what plasma's for.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're too fat. You weigh too much.
So that's when you kind of were like...
It started it. And then, you know, I have a lot of good friends, you know, like you and others in my life that, you know what I mean, started eating healthy. And, you know, at first I did resist against it. I was like, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm going to do me, you know what I mean? But then you see these other people having success, and kind of like the Jackie Chan thing where I'm saying, you're no different from me kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
You're no different from me. I can do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard. So you see that, and you have to start. I mean, maybe it is harder than I'm portraying it to be, but that's what you have to start doing. Because if you don't, then things start slipping by the wayside, and you're justifying reasons why it's okay to stay that big. You know what I mean? Or something like that. For me, it's I don't want to be big. I'm not going to justify being big is okay, because in my logistic brain, knowing that being obese is not physically okay.
Like, you want to be healthy.
Who shouldn't, or who doesn't, like...
I mean, that's the thing. People want to do all sorts of different stuff. People want to...
So that's the point. That's the, like...
Some people will sacrifice health for, you know, mouth pleasure.
Crazy.
You know, or just like the now. Like, I want to be satisfied
I get the now, but the now doesn't have to be food.
Or it could be, yeah. So for a lot of people, they find comfort in
food because food's delicious, and I get that.
And some people do drugs. Some people who do drugs don't do food so much. But people who don't do drugs, maybe they don't drink, maybe they don't do a lot of these other things. What is their thing? They like to fucking eat. And, you know what I mean? When it's time to eat, they really like to enjoy. They like to snack. And, I mean, dude, coming from somebody who smokes a lot of weed, definitely like have an advantage of being like a slender 6-foot guy.
Mean,
but
yeah,
if
that's nice.
But if I was a shorter dude, you know, I would be struggling because fuck, dude, I can't stop eating, you know, 4 bowls of cereal.
I don't necessarily like believe that, because just because you're shorter doesn't mean your metabolism would be different.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. I
You
just
know what I
figured
mean?
that I would be like rounder if I wasn't so tall.
I mean, it would just, see, that's the thing. It just depends, because it would all entirely depend on how active you were. And see, and it's,
yeah. Okay.
That's the mindset that I'm not going to sit here and say people are weak for having that mindset, because look, I'm not fucking perfect. I still fall victim to that mindset.
And everybody's in a different place in their life.
Exactly. But that's the mindset that we need to defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we can't reach inside ourselves and do that, then you're in for a long haul. That's all I'm gonna say. Because as an adult, what I'm just learning, you know, coming from I'm coming from, and which is not knowing a lot, just being able to rely on your own self strength is 100% the best answer.
So how do you feel about Sober October?
I'm excited, actually.
Or Sober September, whatever we fucking end up doing. Cause
don't change it. It's
everybody's
October.
changing things because they have like, oh, I'm going to barter fair on this day and I can't, you know.
Then you're not participating. We're not changing shit.
Sober October?
It's Sober October. You can't participate this year. Sorry, that's your fault. Like, that's the mindset
personal
that
battle,
I'm
dude.
I understand that, but at the same time,
friends help, but like friends will really help you get through it. Like if you have some friends that want to like, you know, team up with you and like not get fucked up for a month and go find
that's
other
the greatest
things.
thing.
But I think it's important, like you're saying, man. It's a lot of this. A lot of us struggle with the mental discipline. And so it's like something that it's something that a lot of people don't want to address. They don't want to talk about. They don't even want to talk about that demon that they have. They don't want to.
Food can be a demon. Food's a demon for me, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
I mean, it can be a mental discipline with shopping. It could be food. It could be
maybe I just have eating problems. Maybe it's not a mental discipline. Maybe it's just I legit have a food addiction that I need to curb. I don't know. See, there's these thoughts.
I think that's mental, though. I don't think
is that the same thing. You think? It's
I think that
thing?
food. I mean, a food addiction is definitely like a mental thing.
Because like I'll sit down and eat 3/4 block of cheese sometimes.
And I mean, and like when you get full, your stomach will, tell you you're full, but your brain is telling you,
like,
dog, get some more of that cheese.
Cheese and crack, bro. Like
it's that dairy crack.
That dairy crack for sure, bro.
The dogs know, bro. The dogs like it.
Humans like it.
Humans like it.
It's fucking cheese, bro.
Cheese is the shit. I was actually listening to a podcast. They were talking about how cheese in like outside of the U.S. is like way different than the cheese
hold
we
on.
get.
Didn't you tell me that? And I can't believe I just found this out. Kraft illegal.
So Kraft macaroni and cheese is illegal in like Sweden and like some other countries.
What?
Yeah, like there's some ingredients in.
Do you know how much Kraft macaroni and cheese I probably ate as a child?
Dude, there's something about it that's like devilishly delicious.
Cheese crack. That's some chemical cheese crack.
Dude, because when you put the right amount of butter and the right amount of milk,
bro,
and it's
and
like
then mom throws in that extra cheese
and it's
on
got
top
that-
with a hot dogs in it.
like you stirring it.
Yeah.
It's got that. It's got that sound of a fucking.
Yeah, we know.
Bro, that shit
Kool-Aid spoon
is so fucking good, bro.
Dude, my aunt, like me and my cousin Jesse used to sit there and bother his mom. Aunt Jenny, can we get the mac and dogs, please? Mac and dogs.
Oh, because you put the hot dogs in there.
Flame,
Oh,
bro. Lights out. You want any kid to sit down for 25, 30 minutes and just be quiet? You make macaroni and cheese and some hot dogs. They gonna shut up.
You know how you know it's good is because if I'm eating it, I'm gonna be like,
right? Yeah.
I'll be moaning.
Oh my God. What is that noise? Is that a lawnmower outside?
I never even knew that I moaned when I ate good food until like people like you were like, bro, what are you doing?
Bro, you were eating that bowl of cereal talking about. What? Are you? Is that you or am I hearing things?
Oh, that was me, dude.
Like what?
Fuck, I wonder how long I was doing that. My parents were just like, don't say anything.
They just don't want to let you know.
don't. Just, it's one of his things. It's cool. He'll deal with it when one of his
It's not like so they're probably like, it's not that bad.
One of his friends will catch it. They'll take care of it.
30 years later.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So you were, so at your biggest, you said you were 400.
I was 405 pounds, and then I dropped down to, I consistently from that point dropped down to about 380. And I was still big at that time. 380 is pretty big. You know what I mean? That's 25 pounds less than 405, but I don't really exactly remember what it was. I remember that I lived over by the track with the bleachers on it. And I think I was walking home from work one day, and I saw the stairs. And I remembered back in high school that I actually enjoyed running stairs. So I challenged myself. I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run these stairs.
Who the fuck enjoys running stairs?
I do. I can't run flat track because I'm 380 pounds. But for some reason, stairs all day, brother. All day.
Yeah, when I was in wrestling, they made us fucking run stairs.
Love it. I'll run 5 miles in stairs.
I actually get stairs now, though. Yeah,
but
I get it.
the difference was I understood, and I think actually what's crazy about it, now that I think about it, what really helped me is I understood not to push my body too far. So I'm running up and down the stairs hard, but across on the crosswalks or whatever the cross beams, I'm walking. So run up the stairs. Intervals.
Pace yourself.
Intervals.
Yeah. Okay.
Heart rate up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That shit will help you lose weight, man. That's what that shit's. Your heart should be doing that.
So that's
on
when
a basis.
So that's when I think I first saw you with a pretty big weight loss, and I think you changed your diet too, didn't you?
I changed my diet, yes, and then actually the funny thing is once I started shopping at no name drops with Trader Joe's, just more organic food. You know.
Hey, you know that there's not a rule on here. No
Oh,
name
okay.
drops.
I'm just making sure.
You're
here.
good. You're
All
good.
right, cool. So I started shopping at like Trader Joe's because it's just like, you know, when I go to the regular stores and you look at like the ingredients, like, for example, I always bring this up, pickles. You know what should be in my pickles ingredients? Pickles, water, salt,
And pickles.
and pickles, of course. Duh. You know what I mean? So you go to most stores and it's like dextro sorbet and high what is it?
High fructose corn
Thank
syrup.
you, that one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And just all sorts of other
Unnecessary.
xanthium gum. What is
I don't need you
xanthium
to
gum?
inject sugar into my pickles.
Why is it gluten free? Thank you. There shouldn't be gluten fucking in pickles.
And I get what you're saying, because even though it's not pickles, but other things that you would be like,
I'm using pickles as yes.
yeah,
exactly.
why is there corn syrup in this ketchup? Like, I want to get ketchup, but I have to specifically look for one that doesn't have corn syrup. And you can easily make it without corn syrup.
I don't get it.
But you're putting corn, you know, because it's really
I mean,
cheap.
I
guess, or
do
something.
get it. I do get it. It's called mass production,
And
and
it's
we have to
cheap, and
keep up. We have to keep up with the mouths we have to feed.
Well, and I also think that corn syrup, dude, I think that there's like a level of addiction to it.
Well,
Like,
it's
if you
also
put your
easy for them to make because it's just
sweeter.
chemicals.
It's you know, it's really just sugar.
That's all it is. Everything is sugar, bro. There's sugar in everything.
But I mean, when you're
That's-
adding sugar, you know, I think that's the thing, is people are adding sugar. Remember all the soda we would drink when we were kids?
Bro.
The Mountain Dews.
Bro, I would go, look, man, Sue, I've been a big kid, like probably 220 plus since I was probably, I would say, around 14.
So you've always been a big kid.
Yeah, but that was mostly because that's all I drank. I didn't drink water.
Like soda.
Soda wasn't my water.
What was your go-to?
Fucking Mountain Dew.
Yeah, dude.
You
That's
kidding
that
me?
crack, bro.
Hell yeah, that's that crack. Bro, give me a fucking 2 liter of Mountain Dew and a box of burritos or crackers. Set, bro.
How guilty do you feel if you drink a Mountain Dew now?
Like shit.
Like you
Physically, not really mentally. I don't care.
really feel it?
Like, I feel it now just because I don't eat things with tons of sugar.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I eat sugar and the things I have in it have sugar in it, but like, I do make a conscious effort not to eat an exorbitant amount of sugar. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because it makes you feel like shit.
well, yeah, I don't like, and then because like bread, which I also is crack for me for some reason, I have a hard time with it. I don't eat it for a while, and then I'll buy a loaf of bread. 4 days later, the loaf's gone.
Mm.
Fucking stomach hurts.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I shoved a fucking
Bread is
loaf
the devil,
of bread.
dude.
You
Bread
know
is
what I
the
mean?
devil.
It's ridiculous, and it's like I shouldn't. It's that mental discipline. So that's where I'm saying I get understand it. It's hard. That's why I was like 380 for a long time, because that stuff is hard. It's hard to defeat that kind of mind state. You know what I mean? And then because I changed up my diet and stopped eating bread and started shopping at Trader Joe's, more organic, less stuff in the ingredients, just less of.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I actually ended up getting gallstones. Yeah.
Oh, was it because you lost the?
Yeah, that's the
Too
doctors. The doctor said that the reason you have gallstones is you changed your diet so drastically, so quick, that your body was like, "Hold up, what? What just happened? Like, what's going on? Like, you go from eating, McDonald's and Jack in a Box all the time.
Now you're eating fucking kale. What's going on, Chris?
Not as much as I should be. Yeah, I do occasionally.
But you were eating a lot. You were eating less, and you were eating different food, and
Yeah, and then couple that with
the amount of exercise you were
you
doing.
have to work out. So before I started going to the
But the point is that your body was new to all these things happening. You were changed your diet, you were
Mhm.
working out heavily, and so the shock or whatever happened with your body not being able to adapt so quickly gave you gallstones,
yeah, that's basically what the doctor said.
and then you had to have surgery.
I had my gallbladder removed. Yep.
How horrible is that?
I don't remember it. In fact, funny story, all I remember is when I was going under, the nurse was fairly cute, and I said to her, because I was all hopped up, you know what I mean? I was feeling good. Wow, you're really cute for a doctor. And she's like, well, I'm a nurse, not a doctor. Count to 3. 1, 2, out. I was asleep, right? I don't know how long the surgery was, how long I was out, but I remember waking up. I wake up, you know what I mean? And I look around and I see an old lady next to me. my immediate thought was the doctor that I had last seen before I passed out was the young girl, and I woke up and she was now an old lady. So it was weird. For a split second, my mom thought I was in a coma for like 40 years.
It's like that commercial.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like that commercial, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, and I shook out of it because as the anesthetics wore off and shit, or anesthesia, excuse me,
Wow.
wore off, I was like,
So they have to like wheelchair you out?
Oh yeah. When I woke up, it's such a weird feeling waking up from that.
Yeah, it is.
Like your whole like your chest pops up like I'm doing right now.
And I just feel like,
you're like,
whoa.
Where was I?
Like I just woke up from like a 6-month nap.
I was in a fucking alternate universe that I don't remember.
It's just like, what happened to me?
You know,
you took something from my body.
but I don't even remember it. Like
I was just probed.
Yeah, it was like that.
Ooh,
yeah, you're
that's
just like,
weird.
Probe done. Wake up. What happened?
You know what? At least you woke up.
Oh, well, thank God. Or
Thank
whatever.
God.
Whatever.
So you were at 405 pounds.
Dropped to 380. Yep.
And, okay, no. Next drop.
So from there, I started again coupling with the eating good food. I started working out 40 minutes a day. I dropped from 380, then down to about 325, 330.
And what was the diet like? Because I know that diet plays such a huge role.
You know, to be honest with you, I'll admit something. It really wasn't even a huge diet change. I still eat tater tots.
Mm-hmm.
I still eat burritos.
Mm-hmm.
I still eat bowls of cereal.
I fucking love burritos.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's
just less
for me, yeah. And recognizing when your energy output is going to be higher and lower, because that's when you really need to consume food, because food is fuel, not pleasure.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately that learning that right there, what I just said, has probably been the biggest thing. So because past 5 o'clock, typically you're at home, you know what I mean, just sitting around smoking.
Not
whatever,
burning a lot of calories.
You're sitting on the couch.
I'm chilling.
You're chilling. You know what I mean? Between when you wake up and probably 3:30, even 4 o'clock before 5 comes around, you're go. You're at work. You know what I mean? You're on lunch. You're trying to figure out how to make money, whatever.
Yeah.
You're up and down. You're moving. You're bending. You know what I mean? And that's your natural body, like burning calories and getting rid of stuff throughout the day for you. So recognizing that for me is what really helped me drop from the 325, 330, probably down to, I think at that time it was 295.
Would you test like the time you're eating?
Oh, absolutely. Intermittent fasting, the time you're eating. That's what when I was explaining there, talking about like when to consume calories. Time you're eating, 8 a.m. You know, you don't necessarily need to eat. You can eat. It's your decision. Just understand that your body's still not fully digested by then. You know what I mean? Still digesting.
Depending on how late you ate.
Exactly, exactly. So, but if you ate, the last time you ate was 6 o'clock and it's now 8 o'clock in the morning, you're fine.
Yeah.
You can eat something. So yeah, testing that, like, because when you wake up, right away your body doesn't need a lot of calories because your body needs to wake up, get used to it. Breakfast, eat, get the calories. Fuck, all right.
Get that fuel.
10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock, it's like, all right, I've been at work, whether it's, see, and here's again, when you're at work, depending on what you do, you're sitting behind a desk doing desk work. The breakfast calories you ate probably can hold you over to lunch. And at lunch, you probably would only need to eat something like a handful of peanuts and some fruit. But most people don't do that.
Nah, man, because
no,
you're
not going to
lunch,
do that, right? You're at lunch. It's time to get away. I fucking hate my job. Ugh,
dude, you
want
to get
fucking
that
double
You want that
cheeseburger.
Jimmy John's.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You want that Goliath in your mouth. Fucking double meat. You want the cheese. You want the sauce. You want the bread. And when you're done, you feel like you're about to fucking explode. You wash it all
Right.
down with a
fucking
Sprite.
fat, or Dr. Pepper.
You get the dark sodas. You get the fucking Dr. Pepper.
Bro, that's
dude.
nothing but corn syrup and sugar.
Dude, I knew a fucking lady, dude, like over by my dad's house, and like she just had like stacks of Dr. Pepper. Like she was like addicted. Like all she did was smoke cigarettes and drink Dr. Pepper.
Holy shit.
But I think that's like a.
You want to talk about getting cancer and your teeth rotting away?
I mean, if you're like sick because you drank too much alcohol and you're like, I just don't. Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper can do that to you too, though. Soda can do that to you too. Soda can make you really fucking sick.
I think they really said that beer is actually healthier for you than soda, for sure.
See, I think that I get that just because it's it's probably, I don't know officially.
They say
I'm
that
guessing.
in beer, there's actually some aspects of beer that are healthy.
Well, because it's
and
probably a little
there's-
more natural.
And there's zero with soda.
There's no.
No health benefits.
Okay. Well, duh.
But there are some health benefits with
I
alcohol.
wonder what it is. Like,
think
is it
I
because
read-
it makes you feel good.
So I know with red wine, if you drink
That's
red,
heart healthy.
if it's heart healthy, but your cancer risk goes up. So you can still be a higher risk for cancer because you're consuming alcohol, but then it's heart health. So there's some things that are
That's crazy that you can't
It's
you can't
trade-offs.
have your cake and eat it
It's
too.
almost
eat it too,
that's
right?
how it is in every
That's
situation.
bullshit.
Every situation that
I
you're
want my cake and I want an oatmeal cookie on top of it.
I fucking love oatmeal.
You know what I mean? Like, this is bullshit. We got to figure this shit out in life. You know what I mean? Like,
You just
we
need
can.
to know that everything that you approach in life, you got to look at you got to know that there's going to be this other side. Oh, does this thing seem too good to be true?
Yep.
That's because there's some other little
Yep.
caveat that you're not seeing. So
Yep.
always look for that shit. And then if you see if you see something that's like negative, just know that there is a real good chance there could be a positive in there somewhere. So don't get too down. Don't get too down too early.
I
'Cause
don't know,
sometimes-
man. That's a hard situation to recognize, man.
I mean, how many times have you been in a situation where you were negative and then it turned out to be, not so bad and actually kind of a cool experience?
I mean, a few.
Because that's
definitely.
happened to me quite a bit where I don't want to go hang out with these people. Oh, I don't want to go do this. And then I'll go and I was like, you know what? That was actually pretty dope.
So because that sounds more like pessimism. Is that negativity? It's pessimism,
just like
negativity.
When you've just maybe even had a bad experience a bunch of times, so you start basing all your future experiences off these past experiences, and then really you're just the future is a whole new thing. You can't base, you can try to be smart.
But you can't say, hold on, because you can't say you can't base them off past experiences, because that's exactly what we have to base things off of.
It's true. But you got to try to just be open that this is a new experience. This isn't going to be what has already been. This is going to be a whole new vibe. If we're talking human interactions, you have a whole new vibe, a whole new people, So I just think that sometimes we'll close ourselves out to stuff, and then we'll go hang out with some people and be like, wow, dude, I end up just having, like, meeting some cool people and having the time of my life, and I was going to stay home tonight. I can't even I'm glad I came out.
Yeah.
Like, that's happened to me a few times where I'm like, I'm glad that I was just pushed myself out there, and then I just kind of let life happen, and it just became a good thing. And I like to think that there's more good than bad, that the majority of things that are happening in life are people that want to be happy and pursue their dreams and live their lives and mind their business, like the majority. But then you have this like minority of people that just want to be negative, and when they're negative, misery loves company. I need to make you negative. You know what I mean? Like,
So
that's how I'd like to think.
there's a funny relation of what you just said, because now that I'm thinking about like the whole weight loss journey and stuff like that, for the longest time, I think a lot of like me not being able to work out, like running on the stairs, like there was times where like my pessimism or whatever you want to call it would be like, oh, these people are judging me, right? Look at this fat guy running.
Yeah. Well, we're
Gives
always
a
worried
fuck.
about people judging.
They're living their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And be happy that you're actually out here able to run, dude. You know what I mean? Be happy that you have the availability to literally get up and go run stairs.
You have
safely.
legs.
I have legs.
You have-
I have a brain. I mean, I have problems with me, but they're not like serious.
They have
Like,
leg problems.
you know what I mean? I have all my ligaments. I have a heart that beats well. You know what I mean? What? You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. You know what I mean? And I think
You're grateful. You're happy to be here.
I'm happy. Jesus. There we go. Fucking. There we go. Name drop. Just kidding.
The ultimate name drop.
But I think ultimately when it comes to the weight loss journey, that's the number one factor right there. Being happy. Like wanting to be okay with like who you are. Who cares? I know coming from a big guy's perspective, and I'm sure a lot of other bigger people or large people, you know what I mean? Whatever, I don't know what the fucking classification is for it. I don't really care because I don't look at it like that anymore. For those struggling.
Plus size.
Whatever, for those struggling is what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Being happy with who you are is the key to everything, man. That's where it starts. but also understanding that being physically overweight, while you're happy with who you are, you're gonna die young.
Just understanding that, it's okay to improve. It's okay to say, hey, I'm happy being who I am.
But I could be better.
But I want to take steps to improve myself. I think that people in this life, they need things to do. They need things to keep them occupied. They need and what better way to occupy your time than to just, it's like we play in this NBA 2K and you're trying to add a little attribute point.
Yeah.
And the attribute points are basically, it's like you get 2,000, 3,000 points after playing a few games. However good you play, you get more points. You use those points to make yourself better. And that's exactly how it is in life. So the work you put in allows you to grow. If you don't put work in, that's the number one thing I learned for burning. I'd say I burnt 10 years of my life just existing, not getting better, not.
I think a lot of people do. I think a majority of people do what we have done. There's a whole generation of us. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, people that just, I enjoyed it. But I wish I could have seen more of the value.
We should have just taken it more serious.
And we're here now.
What are we going to do? I know what it is now, and I can learn from it. You know what I mean? But I also think the biggest thing on being happy with who you are also comes with having the ability to communicate when things are affecting you in a certain way.
Yeah, I think so. Communication, man.
So I know that coming from my past experiences with being overweight, you feel worthless. Like you just like, you're just a little fat slug, whatever, you know what I mean, kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's probably a lot of people who feel like that, but not a lot of people tell people they feel like that. So, and a lot of people don't have friends or loved ones that they can say that to, and have a loved one be like, no, you're not.
So you're just bottling it in.
Like you could work harder. People can't. I think people struggle with giving real feedback or constructive criticism in a correct way, because it's needed. It just needs to be delivered also in the right way. Because if delivered in the right way, it will offend for a moment, but impact for a long time.
Yeah.
Because you'll be like, well, that hurt. Well, why?
Yeah, and you're really getting that person to think. Like now it's on the forefront of their mind, and they're saying, wait, am I?
You know what I mean? So if nobody has that kind of outlet, how do you expect one to change their perspective or their mentality?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They don't have the ability. So I'm very thankful that I had all those things, you know what I mean? Being able to work out, having friends that would give me that kind of mentality of like, look, you're not worthless, but you could try harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think that one thing is that energy is contagious.
Absolutely.
When you're around people and they are just drinking and smoking and fucking off, you kind of find yourself around in that same realm. And when people all of a sudden around you, whether you change the people you're around or the people around you change their lifestyle habits. So say you're around somebody and also now they're working out all the time. Yeah. Now they're dieting. Now they're doing all these different activities. Now you're just included in those things. So now you're not just, no, I'm just going to get high and drink or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Now you're just like, you just adopt things that are in your world.
So that makes me think, like, by nature, are humans just product of our environments?
We're really influenced. Like we're influenced.
Think about it. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's kind of we're influenceable, or whatever the word is.
Influential.
Easily influenced.
Easily influenced. Highly influential.
That's the opposite.
Because influential is like I'm influencing people.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what we're talking.
We're like molded by our surroundings. Yeah.
So basically the same. Product of the environment, molded by your surroundings.
So true, dude. And
why is that such human nature to do that?
Dude,
is that like the yearning to fit in? Is that what it is? Like, why are we like that?
Yeah, because there's just there's a lot of things within us that you just can't explain, and there's like feelings and
Right.
and needs that need to be met, and you just want to feel okay and be like accepted, and
That is like the hardest thing.
we want validation too, so you want people to say,
See, that's funny to me. Needing validation. That for me, I don't need validation unless I legit have done something worth it. And
Yeah.
maybe that's just because
but even then you want the validation.
if
You
I've
know,
worked hard at it, yeah.
I mean, the thing is that everybody wants to feel special. Everybody wants to,
you should, right?
you know, and
But you have to understand. See, that's
have to
that
work hard.
crazy.
yeah.
That's those crazy, you know what I mean, in betweens of working hard but wanting validation, but not being cocky, but earning what you got, and all that crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I always think about that too. Like, it's such a fine line.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Trying to find a balance.
Atmosphere.
Just like you're trying to find a
Trying to live
balance.
yeah.
Like every aspect of your life just needs a balance. And if you think about the physical act of standing on something and trying to balance on it,
That's life.
you're literally one thing is tipping one way, it's tipping the other way. You're trying to balance it where you're not doing too much of anything. You're just doing just enough of everything. And that's a
Drives
fucking
me crazy.
and
Sometimes.
some people live to where they're like, listen, dude, this is how I'm gonna live, and I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do a bunch of this. I'm gonna do a bunch of that, and I think
Well,
that's what's cool.
you got to live unapologetic. You have to live. How was I going to say that?
Unapologetically.
Yes, because it's not.
Is that right?
That's what I was trying to
Two
say.
guys that can't spell or form words very well.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying like straight up be an asshole about things, but at the same time, you don't have to apologize for anything, really, unless you've caused harm.
Unless you're a dick.
What's I'm saying? Outside of being an asshole,
Mhm.
you don't have to apologize for anything that you do.
Yeah.
But most people, including myself, and I catch myself, oh, I'm sorry.
Apologizing for
I'm
nothing.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And you shouldn't.
Like, what are you
Sometimes it's
doing?
just like a go-to thing. Just like we'd be like,
Stop
fucking.
apologizing, dude.
Fucking. If you're in that situation, it kind of diffuses any kind of a conflict by just saying, hey, I'm sorry.
And who cares if there's conflict? You should be ready for that.
Yeah. You should just own anything you're doing, and if someone's got a problem with it, just address it. Communication is the key.
You can communicate aggressively without fighting.
Most times people get upset, I feel like, is a lack of communication.
Yes, or a lack of point of views being understood.
True.
You know
but
what I mean?
it comes down to communication.
Well,
comes down
see,
to
no,
communicating.
because like if you have conflicting point of interest, there is no communication because neither one is going to agree.
That's not necessarily true, because if you have conflicts like that and you're able, as far as like a maturity standpoint, or you're
But
able
now
to,
you're talking about ifs.
I'm just saying, if you can sit down in a room, which will be some of those scenarios, and have a conversation, it is possible for people to understand, to see
yes.
it from this other side.
Of course, there is, but
And some people not. And some people
most people crave the opposite of understanding.
people just want to
The
be
debate club. Oh, I love that shit. I love telling people they're wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just arguing.
Oh God, there's
That's
people.
the worst.
That's them getting off. They love that shit. That's them getting hard.
And
on
they're
the
just
shit.
fucking wasting my time.
Right? You're like, dude, I don't give a fuck. You're
So-
right. You know what? 9 times out of 10 those situations I do. You're right.
Just agree. Move on.
Smile. Yep. You're right, buddy.
So you went from 405 down
Oh,
to
shit, yeah.
380, from
Rambling.
380 down to
257 as
Wow.
of today.
257.
Yes, sir.
So now I want to talk about, because you've started fighting. I mean, you've started training
Yes.
in mixed martial arts,
Absolutely.
boxing,
Yep.
and
go to the
wrestling.
gym after
or just
this.
those two?
We do wrestling a little bit. Wrestling, I haven't got to do a lot of the wrestling classes yet. I definitely want to. As a big guy, especially in any kind of combat sports, wrestling is great because it strengthens your lower back. And having a lower back when you're wrestling another man who's 250 plus pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to lift them up after shooting off your thighs, you know what I mean? Doing a single leg, you have to be able to lift yourself without your hands, just your thighs, you know what I mean, using your leg muscles, plus his weight, and go up with it at the same time. takes a lot of strength.
God damn.
You know what I mean? So you're lifting
That
your
sounds like
weight.
a lot.
You know what I mean? You're lifting your weight and his weight. And a lot of times you're lifting up, but you're also pulling back the knee so it cuts him down. But yes, I've started wrestling. I've started the MMA with 823, and boxing is with BoxFit out of Spokane, Washington, on Wellesley Street. Check it out. You can find them online, BoxFit, at facebook.com.
So that's just right down the street.
Yep, down the street from here. So very local. I love fighting for local places. You know, I'm a local guy. I've lived in this local neighborhood for probably the past 7 years now. So keeping it local, shop local support, everybody.
So now you're training because you have a fight coming up.
Yes, the 26th of July at the Hub Sports Center in Liberty Lake. I will be fighting at heavyweight. It starts at 7, ends at 10 o'clock. You can go to Instagram, look up Proving Ground MMA, and you'll find the link there.
So this is your first
Ever
fight
in
ever.
life.
Well, not your first fight in life, but
Well,
your
first
first
official fight.
Okay, official fight.
Yeah.
Legal fight.
yeah. Yeah.
Your first legal fight.
Yeah.
Dude, at heavyweight. Man,
Yeah.
this is exciting. So this is going to be here in Spokane. We're definitely going to be coming out there to support you, dude.
Do a podcast there.
Can't wait to see that, dude. We're going to do another podcast probably the week before, just to kind of get people,
Hyped up.
thinking about it, hyped up. Come out
see
there.
me.
Yeah, come out there and see some fights.
Or
There's some,
823 MMA BoxFit. Come out, see us.
there's some other fights, right? Going on?
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a title fight that night. So when you if you go onto the Instagram and look up the link, they'll tell you the title fight is, and if you click on the link, they should go over the rest of the fights as well. I don't think my name is on there because it's amateur. So, but yeah,
dude. Hey, thanks for coming on the podcast,
I'll
dude.
fucking love it.
This
Thank
is
you for
fucking
having me,
dope,
brother.
dude.
Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you for having me, Zach. Happy to be here. Have a good night, y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
Yo, I'm just happy to be here.
Funny story. All I remember is when I was going under, the nurse was fairly cute, and I said to her, because I was all hopped up, you know what I mean? I was feeling good.
Wow, you're really cute for a doctor.
And she's like, well, I'm a nurse, not a doctor. Count to 3. 3, 3, 3.